Hey, hi.
Hey Rashid, how are you, mate?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
Good. How's your day going?
I'm actually, first of all, I'd like to thank you very much. I think there is a network disturbance. Some problem. Are you there? Can you hear me?
Sorry, mate. How's that?
Yeah, yeah. How are you? How are you?
I'm good, thank you, mate. I'm good.
I think now I'm audible to you.
You're what? Sorry, mate.
I'm audible to you. Can you hear
Yeah,
me?
yeah. I think it was my
Yeah.
internet. Not very good. I don't think.
Eh, Oh, no, no worry. First of all, I'd like to thank you very much for sparing a time from your busy schedule.
You're welcome.
And as I think many of them have joined also, uh, shall we start with interacting? So, can you just tell me something about you and your passion?
Yeah. Well, firstly, thanks for having me on, Rashid. I really appreciate you reaching out, mate, and putting this together. Yeah, it's awesome. So, a bit about my passion. I grew up learning about breathing and meditation and mindfulness through my mum, who would teach us how to breathe and meditate when we were kids. And that lit the fire for me to learn more about breathing, to learn more about how it impacts my life, to start implementing it in my life as I would get older and learn more and more of these things. I'd implement them in my life and see how they fit in, see how they worked, and continue to use them or try different things. And that expanded into sport for me. So I'm a high performance coach, and through that I have started implementing these techniques that have worked in my life with my athletes, and starting to see some awesome results.
Oh, that is great. And can you just tell me, like, what breathing mean to you, and how did you thought of mastering it? Means like, this is your story, but like, when did you really thought that now I wanted to master this skill and I wanted to explore this skill to the world? And how was your approach and how did you done all this thing?
Yeah, well, I guess for me, in part of implementing that breath within my life, I played Australian rules football when I was younger, and I wanted to play it at the best level I could and everything like that. And for me, growing up in this path, I had the tools of breathing and meditation. And so I started to implement them for myself during game day before we played. And so what I'd go and do is I'd get some earplugs, and I'd just go and find somewhere where no one was, whether that was a meeting room
Uh,
or outside, and put the earplugs in and sit there and breathe and meditate before a game. And
yeah.
all the other players thought I was crazy. What's he doing
Yeah.
over there? Where is he? And but what I found was when I tapped into that breath, when I was in line with that energy and that mind, I would play really well. And when I wasn't, when I was tired, when I couldn't quite get it, when I couldn't quite tap in, I wouldn't. So I realized then the power that I had, and and through my coaching then, it started to come in slowly. So I would see it, I'd still be doing it in my life, and then I'd see work with athletes, but I wasn't quite brave enough to bring it in and talk to them about it. But it wasn't until I guess I came to China in my last role, and I started doing. I'm a holotropic breathwork facilitator, But I started, thinking, this works. How can this be implemented in?
Yes.
And, looking at like things like the XPT course and Oxygen Advantage and learning about that. And I'm like, look, I know this stuff. And it's like, all
Yes.
right, let's do it. Let's start putting this in, and let's start educating. Let's start bringing it in, because it's so important. Not just for physical performance, but for mental and emotional performance, and for the person themselves. And they can use those tools in whatever area of life that they want. But we're focusing on performance for the most part.
So that is a great initiative by you and very different thought and very different ideas of mastering the skill.
Oh, thank you, Rashid. I mean, there's a few people doing some great stuff in the field, and for me, it's a passion, right? So it's
Yep.
it's 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 a part of me. So
Yeah.
that's what I love most about it.
And can you just tell me how breathing can make a difference? Is breathing can make a difference in sports?
Yeah, I mean, well, it can make a difference. It can make a big difference in so many areas. Just think, but I'm going to bring it back to efficiency, Rashid.
Yeah.
With
Yep.
efficiency, if you're not
Yep.
breathing well, if you're not
Yep.
breathing properly, and I know we'll
Yeah.
discuss some of the breathing techniques, proper breathing techniques soon, but if you're not
Yeah.
breathing well, you're going to be inefficient. So you're not going to bring
Yeah.
in the oxygen that you need. The body's,
Correct.
it's not going to be efficient in the transfer, right? You're not going to bring in enough. You're going to get rid of too much. You're mechanically maybe working too much, because really it
Yep.
should be easy, effortlessly, and the body knows what it needs. And when you're in sync with that, it just becomes super efficient. So,
Yeah.
and that's generally across all sports, and that's going to be like one of the main benefits from it. But other things are, and we'll jump into this now, but you breathe, you need to breathe. Your body triggers you to breathe, not because you don't have oxygen, but it's because of a buildup of carbon dioxide.
Yep.
And so if your body is not very tolerant, if you don't have a high tolerance to CO2, then your body's going to breathe earlier than it needs to. And so if you're not breathing properly, you're going to have a
Yeah.
poor you're going to have a poor carbon dioxide tolerance, right? So you're going to need to breathe earlier than you need to. So it's, again, comes back to that inefficiency. And that's something that you can train and get better at,
Yep.
and that'll help you for things like running, for your sports. So you don't need to breathe so much, and you can control your breath.
Correct. So, uh, like how many types of breathing can you just do elaborate? How many types of breathings are there, and how do an athlete need to breathe?
Yeah, look, there's a lot of types of breathing. How long is a piece
Yeah.
of string? So there's a lot of types of
Because
breathing.
we have only one breathing, just inhale and exhale.
So there's four corners of the breath. Okay, and I learned this
Okay.
through EXPT. So there's a inhale, there's an
Yep.
inhale hold, there's an exhale, and there's an exhale hold.
Yep.
And now you can manipulate each part of those corners. You can manipulate each side of those corners to get a different result that you want. So for
Oh,
example, if we're breathing normally, we're just breathing in and out. Okay, so we're not using the holds. We're not
yes.
using the holds in the corner. Say we
Correct.
want to do a triangle breath. We're going to use one of those holds. So we're going to breathe in, hold, exhale. In, hold, exhale. And we can change that again. We could go inhale, exhale, hold. Inhale, exhale, hold. So we can manipulate each side of the breath to get a different result that we need. And now
Okay.
we can use all the corners, and we're now doing box breath. Okay,
Uh,
so for example,
correct.
let's inhale for 3 seconds, hold for 3 seconds, exhale for 3 seconds, hold for 3 seconds. Now we're doing a box breath. And so we can manipulate each side to get what we want. And so there's just normal breathing like we're doing there. We did triangle breath, we did a box breathing. We can also do things like cadence breathing. So we can inhale, we can hold, and we can change the time length that we hold for each of these sides. Right? So we might inhale for 3, we might hold for 3, and then we might exhale for 6.
Yep.
So we can change the corners however we want to get the result. And so,
Correct.
yeah, sorry, you go.
No, no, correct, correct. You carry on. Carry on.
And I was just going to say, and then we can change the tempos. We can change where we breathe from. So in proper breathing, most of the time you just want to breathe through your nose. Okay, that's normally how you want to do it, nice and efficient, in and out through the nose. But if we suddenly change it to the mouth, okay, we can specifically use that for a different reason as well. So when we kick it to the mouth, it's going to elicit the sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight, right?
Yep.
But that's going to ramp our system up. That's going to get us activated. That's going to get us fired up. So we can, even though that's not the proper breathing, you can use that tool to get you ready as part of your warm up. You know, if you're
Yep.
feeling tired, if you're feeling a little sluggish, look at, Wim Hof will use that every morning in the work that he does, or to get himself ready for an ice bath. So
Yep.
we can use it for different reasons. And so how many different types of breath there is? There's many different types of breath.
It depends how we manipulate and how when we wanted to use that. Correct?
Exactly. When you want to use it. So I wouldn't use mouth breathing before I go to bed. Right? It's not
Yeah.
gonna help me sleep at all. That's just gonna start getting me pumped up. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna be
Yeah.
sleeping. Okay.
Yeah.
But for bed, okay, to get ourselves in a parasympathetic state, we're gonna exhale longer than we inhale. All right. And that's
Yep.
gonna help bring
Yep.
us down
Yep.
straight away.
Correct.
So for example, I might want to breathe in for 3 seconds. I might want to hold for 3 and then exhale for 6. Like cadence.
Yep.
Nice and slow. Nice and slow.
Correct. Just like sometimes I do with PMR, progressive muscle relaxation.
Mm-hmm.
When I am traveling with the team and I find difficulty with the recovery strategies, I sometimes I make my players do progressive muscle relaxation. In that, I tell same thing that if you're taking a breath from nose and if you're taking it for 3 seconds or 5 seconds, you release that with a double time, 1:2. If you're taking by 3 seconds, you exhale by 6 seconds so that you will get more recovery also.
Yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful. It's a great way to
So
just
I
go
am on
straight into there.
so I am on correct path. I am on correct path.
No, you're perfect. That's fantastic.
Yeah. So can you just tell me what are the main benefits if you are taking a proper breathing? What are the main benefits of that?
Yeah, okay. But let's talk about what proper breathing is to start, right? So proper breathing is in and out through your nose for the majority of your time, right? Unless you're
Yep, yep,
trying to do something else, for the majority of time in and out through your nose. And
yep.
secondly, you want it wants to be imperceptible. Okay?
Yeah,
It should be light, easy, imperceptible, effortless,
yeah,
effortless, and nice, slow and deep. It should also be right into your belly, right? It should be deep into your belly, not into your chest. Okay, so it'll be nice and deep into here. And it wants to be nice and slow, and it should be expanding 360 degrees around your waist. Okay, a lot of the time people will say you need to take a big deep breath,
yeah,
and most of the time people think that is big, like that.
yeah,
No,
yeah,
nice big deep breath is nice, slow, big and deep into the body. All right, and so I get my athletes starting off with a hand on their chest, their
yeah.
hand on their belly, and to close their eyes and to just feel where they're breathing. You know? And most of the time they've never done this before, right? So they're like, okay, well, hang on, my first hand's moving over my bottom hand. Okay, so that the bottom hand needs to fill up first. Okay, so how can I change that? All right, and figure that out for themselves because they've never felt it. They've never had awareness
Yes,
around it.
yeah, yep, yep.
You know? So that's where I get to start. And once we've got that sorted, sitting with our eyes closed, okay, then I'll get us to do it lying, then I'll get us to do it standing, in all different positions, because if we can't breathe properly at state like this, how can we
Yeah.
breathe properly when we're running around on the field
Yep.
or trying to tackle
Correct.
someone or,
Yeah.
under stress? So, so that's where I'd start there. Just get proper breathing there. And the benefits to that are, once again, efficiency, right? So our lungs come from the top all the way down the bottom here. The big lobes are down the bottom, right? So if we're only
Yeah.
breathing in our chest, we're only really breathing and pulling oxygen into the top part of our lungs, right? So we're being super inefficient with it. We're wasting all the space we have, okay?
Yep.
And same thing with when we're doing that, we're also kicking out more carbon dioxide than we need to, right? Without the oxygen coming in. So we're
Yeah.
creating a poor carbon dioxide tolerance, right? And so that means, like, even if you got a poor tolerance, even if you walk up a flight of stairs and you feel breathless and you, oh, geez, that was tough. Walking
Yeah.
upstairs. I just walked
Yeah.
upstairs. How can
Yeah.
I be wanting to
Yeah.
breathe?
Yeah.
It's because that tolerance is poor, and the body's like, you
Yeah.
need to breathe. You need to breathe. You're in
Yeah.
trouble.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but really, it's just because you're maybe not breathing well, and you've got a poor tolerance, and you just need to shift that breath to be able to change that and build that tolerance up.
So normally when we are breathing, just in normal case, like when we right now we are talking, someone is doing a work in office, uh, a very low activity if we are engaging, how much normal breathing should be there in 1 minute? Can you just, or is it any parameters are there for that?
Yeah, well, in Oxygen Advantage speaks to it, where they say that we should most of us breathe between 10 and 16 breaths per minute, and mainly like 10 to 12 breaths per minute, and yeah, and that can change, and you can manipulate that and change that depending on the depth and whatnot, and just like we spoke about, that's what most people do, but how deep do they breathe in that
Yeah,
as well, right? So is it just shallow breath? Is it into the chest?
yeah,
Okay, or is it actually deep into the belly? Is it nice and steady, nice and slow? Is it that? And that's what I'd say with that. Even if you're at the desk job, or even if you're at just work like that, this is for life, right? We're talking about performance here, but breathing's life. Breathing literally is life. And so what I'd say is, like, for that, is like, bring awareness to where you're breathing, and just bring awareness back to your breath at certain points during the day. Just check in. Am I breathing? How am I breathing? Am I breathing shallow? Am I breathing deep? Am I
yeah.
breathing in that energy? Am I expanding out down the bottom? How am I feeling with that? So let's bring awareness into it with that, because if you're not breathing nice and deep with it as well, it doesn't matter if you're kind of hitting that 10 breaths. It's got to be
Yeah.
both. It's got to be both. And then, yeah.
Very, very good point you have said, because like normally general population, or sometimes when athletes also, we normally don't give much more attention on the breathing. And I think normally when we are talking or something like that, we don't give more attention on breathing, and we take more than 20, 25 breaths per minute. But when we take care of them, when we keep on thinking like that, we can manage everything properly.
Exactly. It's just awareness, right? Bringing that
Yep,
awareness
yep,
back into you, into your body, into how you're feeling, into
yep,
being able to feel these parts. So a lot of us
yeah.
may not have ever breathed like that before, or have awareness
But
into breathing like that before. So
yes, yes,
just
yes.
just bringing the awareness to it is going to make a huge difference. Just
Yep,
checking in with yourself a couple of times a day, just to be like, where am I breathing? How am I breathing? I feel like I'm breathing shallow, and you'll find that that'll help release anxiety as well. That'll
yeah,
help
yeah,
release,
yeah, yep,
worry, anxiety, all those sorts of things, just from breathing back into your belly. So,
yeah.
sim- almost simple, Rashid. Almost simple.
Yeah. And that is why I have approached you, because like so many persons, so many in the world, I think they are not much more aware of the breathing. And I thought that if I'll connect you and if we will have a live session, I think many will come to know, and it will be a great to have you. So I think everybody will be listening, and everybody will be keep on watching every time this session, I think.
Oh, beautiful. That's what it's here for. That's what we're here for.
Yep, yep. So how do you incorporate breathing in your training?
Yes. So that's a big question, but I'll give you the overview for that, Rashid, as well. But like I've split it up into like warm up, in session, and recovery. And
Correct?
so like for a warm up,
Yep.
for example, I'm trying to awaken the athletes up. So especially my last athletes in China, especially like the handball girls, where I'd have them in the afternoon for training. You know, they come in
Okay.
after having lunch and being tired and having a rest and sleeping. So they're all coming in
Yeah.
half asleep. You know,
Yeah.
trying to wake them up and aliven the body again. So things like I would do like a box breathing to start. There may be some coherence breathing as well, heart coherence breathing. And so start off light and help set the intention of, you know, ask them to set the intention. What are we going to do today? What do you need to do today? What are we focusing on today?
Yeah.
And then moving into awakening that body. So it might be some Wim Hof breath with like mouth or nose mouth
Yeah.
breathing to help
Yeah.
get that sympathetic
Yep.
system going
Yep.
and
Yep.
waken them up, and then
Yep.
straight into a warm up, a moving warm
Yep.
up, a functional warm up. And so that only needs to be 5-7 minutes long. Bang bang, straight into it, wake them up, and
Yep.
off we go. And
Yeah.
I'll change that up with what we need and what we're doing. If we're doing a heavy, like a conditioning session that day, I'll focus more on like the nose breathing mechanics with that and getting them big with that. So we're focusing on getting them ready for the warming up the respiratory and pulmonary systems for the conditioning, and then
Hmm.
going to a warm up from there. In session, we'll focus on like making sure that they're bracing properly with their breath, using the breath to brace. With lifts,
Hmm.
especially the big
Hmm.
lifts like deadlifts and squats and
Hmm.
um, lifts like that, and then also getting them to again bring that awareness back into recovery in between sets, to bring
Yep.
that in. So instead of
Yep.
doing a heavy
Yep.
set and no,
Yeah.
bring it back, proper
Yeah.
breathing. Let's get that proper
Yeah.
breathing, nose, relax, bring the system down. Let's see how quickly you can relax. Let's see how quickly you can bring that rest and recovery down. And then for recovery, getting them to just slow down. So we're trying to tap them right into that parasympathetic nervous system before they leave the gym to help them start recovering before they've even left the session. So, and
Yeah.
that's done through what we spoke about. That might be getting them to lay down, just lay down and breathe and feel their body and breathe in through the nose for get them, breathe into the nose for 3 seconds, out for three. Again, 1 to 2. Okay, some cadence breathing in there, or just 1 to 1 breathing, but just get them to sink into the ground, relax into the ground, and just relax their body and just connect back into that. And also with that, with a part of that is you can use that for stretching as well, and getting them to breathe into the stretch. So hold that stretch for a number of breaths. So it might be, you know, hamstring stretch on the ground there. You're going to stay here for 3 long, deep breaths and
Great.
breathe into the muscle. You know, take your attention, breathe into the muscle. And I actually like to, you know, give them the cue to use light, to breathe white light into the muscle, you know, and
Mm.
relax and release it. You
Mm.
know, breathe white light into the muscle, relax, release it. So
Great.
I find that helps, and it's taking the energy there as well. So yeah, so that's on in a broad nutshell how I would implement it into my session. And then for like pre-game stuff, post-game stuff, you know, similar thing, but really working with the athletes on what's going to work nicely for them.
Perfect. Beautifully said. And one question is there from one of the SNCs. One of my friend SNC, Shagar Sudan, is there. He leads with the Chandigarh team. So he is asking, how will long exhale help in sleeping better?
Yeah, so it's going to take you into a parasympathetic state, right? So that's it's going to drop you there straight away, and that's one of the quickest ways to get into a rest and digest state is a longer exhale than inhale. And just like you were saying, and you were spot on, a 1 to 2 ratio is fantastic. Even longer if you can. So if you're in for 3 seconds,
Yeah.
out for 6 plus, And the way to do that as well, just a little tip, is to really constrict the back of your throat, okay, to really make that Darth Vader noise, so that
Yeah,
you're only allowing little bits of air to go through. Because you think you're going to try and exhale for 6 seconds. This is what it normally looks like. In for 3,
yeah, yeah.
exhale for 6. No, you can't get there. So constrict the back of your throat and let it out nice and easy. So in for 3, out for 6. Again. So it's called ocean breath, and you constrict the back of your throat and just nice and easy so you can control it. And you slow it down. You continue to slow it down, slow it down, slow it down.
Correct.
And that's what's going to get you into a parasympathetic state. And even
Mm.
a step further is to only focus on your breath. Only
Yeah.
focus on your breath. That's it. Take it away from what you need to do tomorrow, how training went today, how your athletes are doing, the stress in your life. Take it to the breath. Just feel the breath. Feel it come in, feel it come out, and just bring it there.
And can you tell me, like when you're taking a fitness test, when in Canada also, if you're taking a fitness test, is there any parameter is there for yo-yo test or for 2 kilometer timings?
Is it parameters for my 2K time trials?
Yeah, or yo-yo test? You will be conducting there some in your team will be conducting yo-yo test or 2K test?
Yeah. So whenever I use the test, and we were doing this when I was working with the Chinese athletes, my girls over there, but we'd have a 3K time trial for them and a few other tests
Okay.
for them. And with implementing all these things that we've spoken about, implement proper breathing, implement like
Mm.
CO2 tolerance training,
Uh,
things like that. That's
uh,
gonna have a big impact on the test if it's done well. The breathing
yeah,
gears, like you saw, Rashid, that we spoke about
yeah,
in my ACA talk, they,
yeah.
they're super important as well for the CO2 time trial, for the time trials. Sorry, and all those things together will play a part in their performance. So for those of you that don't know breathing gears, okay, it's like moving up and down gears in a car,
Yep,
right? So
yep.
and basically you're going to move from the nose breathing for as long as you can
Uh,
to nose mouth
yep,
breathing. Okay, then when you can't do it anymore, it's going to be mouth breathing, which would be gear 5, and then you come back down those gears. Okay, so and then you come back to
yeah,
4,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
back down, all
yeah,
the way back to nose. And
yep,
again, that's breathing efficiency, right? And the
yep.
more that you practice that with your conditioning and your running and your game, the more it becomes second nature for the athletes, and the more they're
Correct,
automatically going to stay nose breathing for as long as they can, and then nose mouth
correct,
breathing for as long as they can, and then only
correct.
then it's going to be mouth breathing. So that, with proper breathing, with carbon dioxide tolerance training, is going to put together a really nice performance.
That was because here in India, generally people are very good players, athletes, especially if I'm telling. Some are brilliantly well in their skills, but when team is taking their trials, they fail in yo-yo test or 2K test. Here we take 2K test. So sometimes, so many of them have questioned me on my Insta that Rashid sir, please, whenever you are having a session, you please ask how to take breathe during 2K test or yo-yo test so that we can prolong our uh, test and we can give a better result. So I think you have guided them very nicely, and this practice make I think that performance more better.
Yeah, it will. And just that practice and that instilling all those little things in the athletes on,
Yep.
as proper breathing gears,
Yep.
all that will make the difference. And you'll
Yep.
see it if the athletes implement it. And that's the thing, right? You've got to
Yep.
be able to get buy-in from the athletes. You've got to be able to teach them to make it second nature for them, because if someone's been breathing with poor mechanics all their life, then it's going to take a
Yeah.
little while for them to implement it, right? It's going
Correct.
to take practice and awareness
Yeah.
and
Yep.
practice and awareness to
Yep.
get there.
Yep.
So all those little things need to come together. And when they do, you'll be operating at the best efficiency that you can.
Correct, correct. So it's not a 1 day process, but you just need to keep aware of your breathing, and you need to keep telling your nervous system that yes, you need to recover. Yep,
Yeah, yeah, and that's it. Implementing all these things together will play the part, and that's why we put it in training, right? We put these things in
yeah,
training so that during test time, during game day, that these things are second nature. That all these
yep,
things that we
yep,
practice, all these things that are part of training, will come in and it's easy, and you don't have to think
yep,
about it because you're already doing it.
yep, yep. And once we have done with everything, when we adapted that, we don't need to keep on thinking. It will come automatically. It will be done
Exactly,
automatically. Yep, yep.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
One more question is there from the heart dimension. It's telling breathing consciously, tremendously prolongate our life.
It'll, yeah. I think what she's saying there is that it's going to prolong your life, and
Yeah,
she's spot on with that. It's just breathing better. You're gonna look fresher. You're gonna have more energy. You're gonna be able to handle
yeah,
stress. You're gonna be
yeah,
able to handle all the anxieties that have come up. You're gonna be able to think clearer. You're gonna be able to slow down and process things quicker. Like life is just going to open up nicely, and that's just one of the sides of benefits that are going to happen from breathing, as well as better breathing, better mouths, all like that. And I'd recommend anyone out there who's interested to go read the book Breathe by Dan Brule. It's amazing,
okay,
and
great.
I'd highly recommend that. So yeah, I think that's what she's saying with those questions
Yeah.
there.
So as already you have informed, but still, during a training session, means like when you are having gym, you already said that how to do it, but can you just demonstrate, like when you are lifting or when you are having in gym, how do you breathe when you are lifting, and
Mm-hmm.
how we can breathe between the two sets during rest set? Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Well, for example, for like if you're doing a squat, what
yeah,
we'd want to do is you've got the barbell on your back. You're getting
yeah,
yourself set. You're good to go. You're ready. All right. You're in
yeah,
position. Nice big breath into the nose, deep into the belly. Right. And hold that. Pull that down like
mm.
this. So we're making lots of pressure in
Not,
here, so that we're protecting our hips and our spine. Right. So
yeah,
here, nice and tight. Tight. You're going down, up, exhale. Okay. Exhale through the nose.
yeah, yeah,
Same thing. Reset. And reset every time. Reset every time.
yeah,
Nice and tight. Nice
yeah,
and tight. Nice
yeah,
and tight. And that's how I teach my athletes to do it. Same thing with deadlift. Get ready. Okay. Get in the
yeah,
position. Pull up. Drop it. Bang. Get ready. Reset. Tight. Up. Drop it.
correct, perfect,
Okay. And in between those sets,
yeah,
you can be more specific. You're like, okay, after you finish, straight away you're going to go over, you're going to walk, and you're just going to take 5 slow deep breaths. Okay. And you can do it like that. Or it's like, okay, you're going to take 30 nose breathing breaths in between each of your sets, and then you're going to start the next one.
yeah,
And so you can start bringing awareness to it like that.
correct,
And as in the talk as well, Rashid, you can even practice, the CO2 tolerance through the gym work as well.
yeah,
And we can do that little tolerance. But the way I'd start with that, Rashid, is like through breath holds,
mm,
especially for people that haven't had experience to it before,
yeah,
is start with those breath holds, right? So just like the triangle breath that we spoke about, breathing in,
mm, mm.
hold,
Hold and
exhale.
release. Yeah,
Or the opposite away around. Breathe in, breathe
yeah,
out, hold. So start putting in those little holds in the breath, and that'll start building that CO2 tolerance up nice and steady as well. And a nice way to start for people that are new to it, haven't, getting their breathing right and things like that.
So I think when we give a proper rep and proper set to all the athlete, I think it is also very important just to make more aware and more emphasis. We also, if we as an SNC also intimate that after this rep, you need to take this much breath and with this much with this triangle or square box, like I think that will be more efficient way because sometimes athletes don't care and they just simply don't breathe don't breathe properly, and that is why they don't recover for and they don't prepare for next set.
Yeah, I mean, and this, this will help. The main thing is, Rashid, is to bring that awareness to it, right?
Yeah,
And bring
yeah,
bring the awareness to it. So, in between sets, I think it might be hard to do, especially like a box breathing with the holds, because what you want to do
mm,
is just bring them into recovery, right? And if we're going to
mm,
recover, we want them
mm,
to get back control in their nose. So if they're,
mm,
we want to bring them back to their nose and bring them to
huh,
slow it down. And
huh,
that's the quickest way to do that as well. Just bring them
mm,
to slow their breath down as they breathe. Get control over it and breathe it. And
correct.
already, just by coaching them on to get control over their breath again and
Yep,
focus in on that breath again, that's
yep,
already that's already doing what we want them to do, right? That's already
yes,
becoming aware of it. That's already becoming feeling your body and feeling that breath. So it doesn't even need to be, you need to do a box breathing after this. So it doesn't even need to be that. It just needs to be bringing that awareness back. Let's slow your breath down. Let's slow that breathing down. Was that out of your mouth? Just make sure it's out of your nose. Remember? Let's go back to our nose. Calm it
yep,
down.
yep, yep.
You know? So it doesn't even need to be too much with that, Rashid. Like, it doesn't need to be box or triangle and stuff. It can just be, especially in between sets, because they're already thinking about a lot. They're already thinking about what they've just done, what they need to do, how their lift is going, are they having a good day in the gym, all that sort of thing. They've got a lot to think about. Let's just get them to slow that breath down. And that's easy, right? We can easily coach that.
Many are praising you in comment. Many are praising you in comment. I'm just going through all the comment. Let's see if somebody have given a question, something, a good question. Heart dimension, top master of breathing work, 100%. Uh, one more, such a valuable knowledge. Oh, correct, 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 correct. Such a valuable knowledge. The first thing we do when coming to the earth is taking on the first breath. Yep. So that was, I think, a few. If anybody wanted to ask some question, just jump over it and ask the question. I think one question I have received. How about breathe through nose and when you're doing concentric movement, breathe out through mouth? It's a question mark. How do you breathe through nose? And when you are doing a concentric movement, breathe out through mouth?
Yeah, and that's yes for most things, Rashid. Yes for most things when we're doing it, right? Like it's easy for us to do that for a bench press, for example, and use our breath to come up. But also, if you're, for example, as you know, when you're training your athletes, if you are if you're doing really heavy, for example, you're going to want to really brace with that breathing, brace down, touch, and drive up, and really almost hold that breath, to keep the pressure within your body to help get it up, right? And
Yeah.
that's a bit more advanced, and that's athletes will understand that because they've trained that, they're used to those sorts of weights and things like that. So yes, the breathe in, I prefer to just get my breath in before and after the movement, because before I'm not worried about trying to breathe while I'm coming down and coming up with heavy weight. So by locking it in early, it's, especially with that heavy weight, I've got more control over it. So
Yeah.
and so yes, that's normally the way that we're taught, and yes, that's not wrong. I don't think that's wrong either.
So
I just do it
it's,
like this.
it's telling through a small pipe of mouth,
What's that? Sorry?
through a small pipe of mouth.
Through a small pipe of mouth on the exhale.
Yeah.
Oh, you can. I mean, you can do that. That's what I mean. You can breathe in through your nose on the way down and out through the mouth on the way up if you want. I try and stay for nose breathing as much as I can. But if you're trying to get that little extra, sometimes it happens. Sometimes you want to make some noise with it or whatever. That's fine. It's an expression that helps get you up.
Yeah,
And I don't think for me, there's not an exact right or wrong way with that to a certain degree, unless your breathing's all messed up. No, I don't
yeah.
think so with that. Just whatever works for you. So me, I'll take the breath in beforehand, go down, up, and then exhale, and then reset and go again, just like I did with the squats. And for me, that just has more control over the whole movement.
I think Kunal got his answer. That is why he has written very true. And he is also working as an SNC in Sport Authority of India. Great.
Beautiful.
Uh, she's asking, where do you teach it?
Yeah,
Do
so
I,
I'm doing a bit of coaching online at the moment, Rashid. So if anyone's interested in
yeah,
learning more about the breath, I'm currently working with people at the moment, whether it be athletes or coaches, and teaching them a little bit more about the breath in my own side of things. So if anyone's interested in learning more and working with me on that side of things, then they're more than welcome to reach out to me.
yeah. And do you teach online also?
Yeah, teach online. Teach online also. I'm also a holotropic breathwork facilitator. So today I've actually got a session this afternoon with teaching, and that's a little bit deeper. Holotropic breathing goes nice and deep into the body and helps release anxieties and stresses and traumas and things like that out of the body. So we're moving from the performance side to the real health side this afternoon, but also do that as well, Rashid. But yes, working with coaches and athletes online at the moment. So more than happy to reach out and
No.
talk
So
to you.
if anybody who wanted to join, I'll surely put this. And it was great talking to you. And
Likewise.
one message, if anybody, any message you wanted to give to the world through our live session.
Yeah, just bring your attention back to your breath. Bring your attention back to your breath. Get your proper breathing mechanics right. Bring your attention back there, and that'll open up a whole new world for you. Simple.
Great, 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 great advice. And thank you very much for being here. And it was great chatting with you. It was great talking with you. And I hope many of them have learned a lot from this session.
Likewise, Rashid. Thank you so much for having me on, mate. And it's really nice to meet you and talk to you about it. And yeah, maybe we could do it again soon.
Soon, soon. Yep, yep, yep.
Beautiful, mate.
Uh, Now, after my today quarantine will get over, and from tomorrow we will be having a practice session, and then we are having a one day tournament going on. So soon
Beautiful.
after one day tournament, yep, we will soon back will connect. Yeah, yep, yep,
Awesome, Rashid. Awesome, mate.
yep, yep, yep. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, mate. Thanks
Yep,
for everyone for
yep,
jumping on and listening.
yep, yep, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, all the viewers and audience throughout the world. Thank you. Goodbye.